basICColor input 6. We're going to look at how to make an optimal camera profile for Capture One from the digital color checker SG. I created a preset and now I'm going to check going into my reference review mode. My default here is the 2019 edition. In this menu, there are all the other editions listed, so I could switch between them. There's LAB data and spectral data. And now I can also look at the actual measurements. I'm going to use this top left corner for the lightness control. If your target is not perfectly and evenly illuminated, it may be better to use this patch that has a very similar value. So this one has 96.5, the other one has 96.6. And one other thing I want to mention is these two patches here. This is F5 or G5. They're commonly used for gray balancing or white balancing in Capture One for cultural heritage work. As you can see here, this is very neutral. A is 0 and B is minus 0.3. This is a little less neutral. So preferred patch would be G5 for Capture One. Here I open my raw file in Capture One. You can see there's a generic profile. Here we picked linear response. We're going to make a profile for the linear response curve. Important is that we match up the lightness from the reference data so that the profile does not brighten or darken an image when it is applied. In basICColor input we had 96.6 and here we have now 85. We can see that here there's a lab readout. We set that to generic D50. But what is important is that I have a conversion using a color space profile that has color transformation in both directions. If I don't have that, then I don't see anything up here. So back, we now need to adjust it because it's too dark. And for that, I'm going to go into levels. And I'm going to change my levels. I read 96. I could edit this by hand too. 220. Here we go. 96.7. And this is an optimal setup for exporting my TIFF. The second thing I want to do a white balance on patch G5. That's the most neutral patch in the color checker, as we saw in basICColor input before. And so I'm going here with my white balance tool to make sure that we maintain the white balance of the reference data. This way, again, we are not changing the white or gray balance of an image when we apply a profile. And now we are ready to export. Important here is that we have a setting that says embed camera profile. It does not matter what profile is actually selected. This is more of a flag that tells us the data that we're exporting is unchanged. It is unprocessed. No color transformation has been applied. So now we exported a TIFF and we're going to switch back to basICColor input to make the actual profile. Now we're loading the exported TIFF from Capture One. As you can see, the grid is found automatically, and I have here a loop, and I can look at raw percent, 95.2%, so that's very, very close to the L value that I had earlier. You can see that the profile will be made for capture 1, and you can also see that the name of the camera is grayed out because only when that name is the exact same way, then the profile will appear at the very top in capture 1. I'm going to pick Faji as the quality control mechanism. Here's my result. My 90 percentile delta E 2000L is 2.3. The L stands for linear lightness. Now we're going to apply this profile in capture 1. We're back in capture 1. I restarted the application because only then will the profiles get reloaded, and you can see here now, here is our color checker SG profile that we created in basICColor input. And now we can check. We got a 97, 96.8. This profile is perfect for cultural heritage. The last step is we will verify how good our profile really is through the workflow if we made any mistakes. So now we're going to convert this image through the camera profile to my working space. In this case it's ProPhoto, so I just say process, and then we will switch back to basICColor input again. Last step for us is to evaluate what delta E through the workflow, through the processing in capture 1 is. This is the image that we output to ProPhoto. When there is an embedded image profile, we do an evaluation, and you can see here 90 percentile is 2.2, 50 percentile is 1.2. So this is a perfect result. If you want to get a report, click on the report, and then you get a detailed success report.